është dita e Europës. Sigurisht që Europa ka qenë një ideal shqiptar të paktën i 30 vjetëve të fundit. Çdo lloj politike, e majt apo e djathtë, çdo lloj njeriu në zemrën dhe në mendjen e tij ka menduar që Shqipëria është më mirë të shkojë në Europë. Por a është kjo një diçka për cilën ne duhet të aspirojmë? A është Europa zgjedhja jonë? Pikërisht për të diskutuar për Europën, ç'është Europa, dhe për të parë nëse Europa është vërtet një zgjidhje jonë, një zgjidhje e shqiptarëve, një zgjidhje e problemeve tona, apo është një destinacion i idealizuar. Sot kemi dy miq që do na flasin. Kemi Cosimo Bruno. Cosimo është pothuajse vlonjat, jeton në Vlore, është nënkryetar i shoqatës së fizioterapistëve europian. Është kalorës i Republikës Italiane, jeton prej disa vitesh në Vlore. Është një qytetar i angazhuar, merr pjesë në shumë nisma dhe sot ka ardhur për na bërë një prezantim të shkurtër për Europën. Miku i dytë i ftuar është Konrad von Ritter. Konrad von Ritter është një specialist i nivelit lartë. Ai ka punuar prej 25 vjetësh me Bankën Botërore, ndër këto 20 vjet të shpenzuara për çështje klimatike, të shpenzuara për energjinë e rinovueshme dhe të shpenzuara për zhvillimet komunitare. Ndërkohë ai ka punuar dhe në sektorin privat, është hartues i politikave të ndryshimeve klimatike të Bankës Botërore, siç thash, por në sektorin privat ai ka marrë pjesë në një nisëm e cila quhet We Energy, është një kompani e energjive të rinovueshme me qendër në Singapur. Ndërkohë, ai është edhe një aktivist politik, është themelues i një partie pan-europiane të quajtur Lëvizja Volt dhe është themelues i një shkolle dhe një akademie politike e cila përgatit politikanë të rinj që quhet Volt Academy. Ai do të jetë me ne sot, ku do të bëj një quiz për Europën, sa studentët tanë dinë për Europën, dhe ndërkohë do të bëj dhe disa role plays, disa aktivitete të shkurtra, ku ne do të ndahemi në dy skuadra, ku një skuadër do të jetë skuadra pro Europës, pra do të japi argumenta pse Shqipëria duhet të futet në Europë, dhe një skuadër tjetër do të jetë skuadra kundër Europës, pse Shqipëria nuk duhet të futet në Europë. Pra pak a shumë kjo ishte ajo që do të diskutojmë në takimin e ditës sotme. Duhet ta nis këtë bisedë fillimisht me Cosimon. Cosimo, mund të fillojmë me prezantimin tënd dhe pastaj të vazhdojmë me Konradin. Po?
The 9th of June is the Europe Day, and my presentation will be very short. I tried to make short as possible because in 15 minutes it's very difficult to explain everything, but this history of Europe is European Union, and Europe at the same time is as well my history, because I was involved as well in the process of making Europe much better, especially in the field of education, in your field. So I tried to explain in 15 minutes, if it's possible, what is Europe and so on. Okay, next. So this is what we got to explain in 15 minutes. What is Europe, when, why we made Europe, and what is been done till now, and what will be the future. So next, first question. What is EU for you? Is a state, is a confederation, or is an organization? What do you think? Is a state, is think that Europe is a state, raise the hand. Raise your hand and think, okay, one. Is a confederation? What raise the hand if you think that is a confederation. Okay, one, okay. Is organization? Raise the hand who think that is organization. Well, we have just 10 answers in many people, so why you don't answer? You are afraid? So Europe is an organization. Is an organization, the state. Next. If you see here, 27 countries. This is Europe in 2024. But Europe before started in very difficult time during the Second War. So next. So in 1949, 4 anti-fascists, Italian anti-fascists, in the little islands that is called Ventotene, they were thinking to a better Europe, peaceful Europe, with the collaboration without wars. But we used to be in the middle of the war. Next. So the war started in, the Second War started the 1st of September of 1939. But I ask you one thing. What is for you the 7th April on 1939? Do you know what is for Albanian people 7 April of 1939?
Occupation of Italy.
Well, good. The professor said right. Very good. The occupation of Italy here. Mussolini get to in Albania in 3 days. He made a show. This was a show. But Germany, the 1st of September, they invade Poland. The 22nd June, they invade Russia. So, in the middle of big war, 4 people were thinking to make better with they wrote a manifesto for Federal Europe Unite. Next. So, why? In the middle of the war, after the war, in 1945, we had a strong Soviet Union that occupied many eastern countries, and the German was quite little, destroyed by the war, but at the same time, the United States was afraid of Soviet Union, was afraid as well of Germany, because Germany lost the first war, after made the second war after a few years, and one thing was really important at the time. Next. Next. Okay. There was the Siege of Berlin. You don't know nothing about Siege of Berlin. So Stalin gave order to siege the Berlin city. Berlin city was divided in Russian part and the western part. Next. So this was between starting the 24th of June of 1948 and finished the 11th May of 49. Next. In this period, in the 1949 was made the NATO. In April was made the NATO. Why? Because they were afraid about Russia. So started NATO. Next. And with the NATO, we had the 10 countries, now it's much more. And a few months later, we had the first time, next, the Council of Europe. The Council of Europe was made to promote democracy, to promote better conditions for the people, to promote democracy in all Europe. All Europe is not the part, but is as well Russia, as well other countries. That
to support the union.
And to support and to give the European culture, to spread the European culture. And they make the first council. Next. Okay, who made this? Is in May 1950, Robert Schuman is a foreign minister of French, foreign affairs French minister. He made a plan with other European people, the plan of new political cooperation in Europe, because without cooperation we make probably other wars. Europe never was in peace like now. Now is about 75 years that there is not war in Europe. Next. So these are the fathers of the European Union. Spinelli, that was in his island of Ventotene, he wrote the manifesto of Ventotene. Churchill as well. Churchill wished to have the United States of Europe. And the other big fathers are Adenauer from Germany, De Gasperi from Italy, and Schumann. So this is, they are the fathers. Next. So, the Nyon Day, 1950, is now the Europe Day. This was decided from European Union that the Nyon Day, for this reason, we make in all Europe the Europe Day today. And for this reason, it was interesting for us to spread this knowledge, to give the value of Europe to the student, to the citizen. So,
to collaborate.
Yeah, because we don't, this is just to spread the value, what made Europe for the citizens. So you appreciate much more if you wish to join to Europe in the next years. Next. What is be done? The first thing that they made a cooperation for energy, and they make a community. They were at the beginning 6 countries. In reality, there used to be 7 countries. So, because there is Algeria. Algeria was part of France. So, in the 10 years later, Algeria left. Why? Because they made, they were against, they want to be free from France. So they made a war to be independent. Next. So, what bring the Europe, peace in Europe? Just imagine, my grandfather was a soldier and was suffering during the First World War. My father was a soldier and suffered during the Second World War. I was a soldier, but I don't suffer and I don't make war. So my generation is very lucky generation, and I hope that your generation will be lucky like mine. The other thing is the cooperation, the democracy, the value of democracy. This means free press, free thought. The people must be free, don't be scared, because this is the really democracy. Against the dictatorship. Which country came in Europe after the dictatorship? Greece had the dictatorship with the colonel, Spain with Franco, and Salazar in Portugal. So every country was with dictatorship, they has very, very bad life. No democracy, no free press. So they went joining Europe, they were very happy, they be much richer than the previous one. The other thing is the free movement of people, of goods. Yeah. So now, if you can go to Italy, to another place in Europe, because we worked for this, they made for this, the support of poor area. Every country that joined Europe, they had benefit. Ireland was very poor before joining to Europe. Poland was very poor. Hungary, many countries. The same, if you think in Albania, we have a lot of money the European Union provided to Albania. You are not a member state, but we support the poor area. There is one currency. I can go now with euro, travel in Europe, but before I do change, I live just near the border, change my money in franc money. So this is what made Europe till now. Next. Strasbourg. So this is a nice picture. It's 1987. This is the building. Was my first European meeting. I was vice president of my profession at European level, and I started to work with the Commission, European Commission, to give the possibility to the people, the professionals, the students to move. So I start my activity to be my little contribution to make a better Europe. So next. So the same day is 1987. We had the very important things, the Single European Act, where we divide many topics in Europe. There is energy, profession, goods, foods. So we have to everything. Next. So speak about university. About university in 1988, we had in Bologna for the 9 century anniversary of Bologna University, they made Magna Carta for Magna Carta Universitatum that give to the university to be free, independent, and at the same time the quality and so on. We made other declaration, we go just directly to Bologna process. I was in Italy as well, member in the Ministry of Health to recognize foreigner titles. It was really difficult, really difficult. If you compare the curriculum from West and Eastern, say, oh, Eastern, very good, they study 4 years, and we study only 3 years, so they are better than us. After you go to see the curricula, first year was Russian language and history of a Communist Party, so 1 year just for this. And the same time was quite difficult because the system was different, not the European credits. Now you have European credits, you can use your credits in Italy, in other countries, but I worked for you. I was the one little piece in the puzzle to give a contribution to change, because I had the difficulties, we had the difficulties in the past. And when you start to communicate with different people from different countries, we lost, it's not lost. We spend time and time just to understand the meaning of one word, because when you go together with different cultures, we need to don't make mistake. At the same time, after that was the European higher education area. This means that this system of credits of the same system is not only in European Union, but as well as Albania. Albania signed in 2003 the Bologna process. So now this is the way you can see we have in the same, all these countries, we have the same system of education, the same levels. Next. Some things about Erasmus. Erasmus, many students at Erasmus, was the mother of Erasmus, Sofia Corradi, Italian pedagogist, in 1969, and the 15th of June 1987 start the Erasmus project. Erasmus Plus is from 2014. Erasmus is a program to support education trade for you. What means Erasmus? Erasmus is acronymus. Next. Acronymus means a European Community Action Scheme for the mobility of university students. So they made this with the acronyms. Next. To finish, just is not, what is a European professional card? I told you, it was very difficult to recognize the foreign titles. At the beginning, before I started to work for this, we had in Europe specific directive for movement of professional and general directives. So at the beginning they made the specific directives for medical doctors and the nurse. So when the European community, at that time was community, said we spend too much long time to make specific directive, we needed to make a general directive. So we started to make this. And the process of Bologna included the system was much easier, and I proposed to the European Commission a European professional passport to be faster the recognition of the title, because the problem is if you like to find a job after you spend 1 year to be recognized is difficult. So, but European Union, this idea was changed in European professional card. This is electronic. Your state give you the seals that you are professional, that you write with description to order, and give this was finished the process in 2011. So I spent more than 27 years to work for this. It's a long time. But you have now the benefit. So the Europe is an organization. The Europe is not still a state. is going step by step, day by day, change, make better and better. So we need the contribution of different countries, of different people, of different professionals. Next. What in the future? Next. You see, Europe, we wish to have a federal United States of Europe. I love Europe, but I don't like this Europe. I love Europe, but I don't like this Europe, because it's not still the Europe of citizens. We need to have reform in Europe, and we fight to have a better Europe with the United States of Europe, with the Parliament more stronger, with more independent Europe. Next. So, with Europe, it's much easier to have democratura. You don't know what means democratura? Democratura is democracy and dictatorship. In French, dictatura and democracy and dictatura. So,
Middle way between...
No, using the democracy to make the dictatorship, like Orban in Hungary. It's democracy because you go to vote, but at the same time you are not really free. So this is democracy. So we don't want this, we want free thought, because the free thought means democracy. The equality between people, population, north, south. Why in some place you have a different style of life or different taxation and so on. So equality. And the peace. I told you, the peace is really important. With the European Union, we had the peace for many, many years. One of the problem, we have a little problem, in my opinion, this is near to finish. If you see the white spot in the middle of European Union, is Serbia, Bosnia, Albania, Macedonia, Kosovo, and so on. The war started from this area, because there is a very mixed population. I tell you just a story. In Italy, when we start when I was a kid, in 1950, in that part, a little part of minority of Italy, in the north, they would be Austrish, German minority, they were put in bombs. The same in Ireland, for Irish with the UK, the same in Spanish. But what did the Italian government? It was very, very clever. They say, okay, you are a minority, okay, give you better condition. You can maintain your language, we give you much more money. So the minority in Italy had much more benefit than Italians. Because in this way there is peace. But when you would like to suppress the minority, of course you have war, like Serbia tried to suppress Albania and Kosovo. But for this reason, we need a strong Europe, and the countries in the middle of Balkans should join, in my opinion, because after it's easy, we are much more friends. I am friend with him, he's a German, but we was allies before, after we fight each other, but now we are friends. So the Europe is a friendship. This is what, next. Okay, follow me there. I try to be short as possible. And next will be my friend that we make a different way. Next, if you have questions.
Thank you, Cosimo. If you have any questions for Cosimo? No? No questions, you were very clear.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Faleminderit.
Faleminderit.
Pra për të bërë një përmbledhje të asaj që tha Cosimo, Cosimo është një pro-evropian I thekur dhe vlerat që qëndrojnë në bazë të kësaj bindje apo në bazë të kësaj përkrahje për Evropën janë dy, janë prosperiteti financiar, monetar, ekonomik, dhe janë dhe vlerat që mbartë Evropa duke filluar që nga liria e fjalës, duke filluar që nga ndjekja e së vërtetës, duke filluar që nga organizimi për të mirën dhe një sër vlerash të cilat janë tashmë propaganduar, por edhe vendosur e përhapur dhe jetuar nga pothuajse gjithë shtetet evropiane. Një gjë që duhet të mendojmë ne është çfarë është Europa për Shqipërinë. Pra, është Europa për Shqipërinë një destinacion i cili është mbi reklamuar nga politika jonë, apo ne duhet të bëjmë një thellim në çfarë aktualisht dhe konkretisht ka bërë Europa në Shqipëri. Për shembull, po të marrim shekullin e 20. Në shekullin e 20, Europa nuk është treguar e drejtë në Shqipërinë. Në folklorin për shembull e zonës Labris, ajo shihet si një njerëk, si një grua e ligë që punon mbas krave kundër interesave të shqiptarëve dhe i trajton shqiptarët si të njerëkës, jo si të nënës. Shpeshherë ushtritë evropiane gjatë luftës së parë botërore, ushtritë austriake, ushtritë italiane, kanë bërë luftë në Shqipëri, kanë vrarë, shkatëruar, plaçkitur. Italianët na ka pushtuar disa herë gjatë luftës së parë botërore, gjatë luftës së dytë botërore. Pra, nëse marrim historinë e shekullit 20, shikojmë domethënë që ne nuk kemi dalë mirë me Europën. Nëse marrim luftën e Kosovës, Europa ishte skeptike, qëndronte në hije gjatë kësaj kohe dhe ishin Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës dhe Anglia, e cila nuk ndodhet sot në Europë, e cila e mbështetën këtë luftë. Po të marrim të kthehemi mbrapsht në histori dhe në kohë, të marrim për shembull traumë të mëdha, domethënë që ka pasur populli shqiptar, luftën e Skënderbeut kundër turqëve. Pak a shumë Shqipëria ndodhet në një pozicion si ndodhet Ukraina sot, ndërmjet dy fuqive të mëdha botërore, perëndimit dhe lindjes, ndërmjet Turqisë dhe komplet qytetërimit perëndimor. Sigurisht që Skënderbeu shpat e krishtërimit, por cila ishte kostua që pati populli shqiptar nga të bërë barierë, domethënë të turqëve. Ishte një kosto 500 vjeçare që mase e vuajmë edhe sot. Pra, këto janë disa nga mendimet që na vinë. Pra, ne si na dalin llogarit me Europën. Është ky një destinacion që ne duhet vemi së mbyllur apo duke reflektuar. Megjithatë, tani kemi Konrad von Ritteri, i cili do të na japi një quiz për Europën, sa dim, sa informacion kemi ne për Europën dhe mbas kësaj do të bëjmë edhe një role play. Faleminderit.
I'm Konrad Ritter. I feel very honored, first of all, on this day, which for me is a special day, to be here with you and for you to take time and to be present here. So I just would like to do a brief check-in how you're feeling. And we are doing that with hands. If you're here, it's still pretty early in the morning and you don't really know why you are sitting here, you can raise one hand. If you are okay to be here and say, well, let's see what comes, you raise your left hand. And if you're really excited to be here, hey, what's going on here? Then you raise both hands. So let's see. Raise your hands. 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, feel free. That we get a sense a little bit here what the room is like. And I like the honesty. That is very good. So, those who still wonder why you're here and what it's all about, I will give a little introduction. For those others, I hope you're very open to the surprises. And for the third ones, I'm excited that you're here and I hope we'll make this a memorable Europe Day in Albania. For many years, I worked, and I think you mentioned that, in an international development organization, and I was sort of about to save people in Africa and in Asia and in Latin America. And I always felt Europe, this is to see my family, but otherwise in Europe everything is fine and okay. They don't need really my help. And then after 2-3 decades, 25 years being outside Europe, I came back and it was the time of Brexit. And I noticed, wrong. Even here in Europe, it's good to really stand up to make sure this Europe has a future. And that's when I met a couple of young people, more so the age I see here, who said, we don't want to stand back and just watch. We want to make sure this Europe is one we want to live in 50, 60 years. And so 3 young people created something called Volt. And the one, I think, innovative idea says if we want to engage ourselves from the beginning, we cannot start as Volt Germany or Volt France. We want to be Volt Europe. So it's an organization which is pan-European. And they call themselves pragmatic because we don't really feel there is one ideology. Progressive because we want to move and renew, and Cosimo already mentioned that in his last words. And as I mentioned, pan-European. Now, out of this initiative of 3 young people, quite something has happened. So by now, all over Europe, there are 120 people who have been elected in office, present in 30 plus European countries, and actually already 1 member of the European Parliament sitting there for Volt. You may have heard that now in June there will be another election for that European Parliament, and so there are 14 countries where Volt actually participates in this, and the important thing is one program, because we don't want something specific for this country, but we want to see that this makes this continent ready for the future. And that program is called Moonshot Program. Now Cosimo asked me yesterday, Konrad, what is that moonshot? We are here on the Earth. Well, the story goes back to the 60s when President Kennedy said, wow, we want to make sure we get the first man on the moon. Nobody knew how to do that. He simply said, this is the ambition, and everyone started working, thinking, and indeed 10 years later they had it. So we use it not because we want to shoot on the moon, we want to stay on the Earth, but actually it's a great ambitious program, and this is why we are here this morning, because on that program, which is very long, we've prepared some quiz, and that puts you into an active mode, because you all have ideas, and those we want to bring here out this morning. And so the purpose clear, to hear different views on Europe, to learn a little bit what the Volt people are doing, get you in the driver's seat to think, not just listen to me, because you have a lot of knowledge, and hopefully that leads to some interesting discussion afterwards. Now, in order to get to this quiz, I was told in Albania everyone has a cell phone, and you are very savvy to be with us, so you will get now at the end you will get a QR code which you can copy, and with that you can upload the quiz. So this will be a good test of Albanian technology, and the quiz will look like this. You get questions. Here you can choose the right one. Here you read the question and answer it. At the end, you submit it, and then we can jointly look at it. You will see the correct answers with some explanation. And this is the QR code to get you to this quiz. So now I invite you all, use your QR reader, and then you should see there a link to quiz A. It gets you into a WhatsApp group. So please, everyone, are you all familiar with QR reading?
Atëherë do fotografoni kodin QR dhe kodi do t'ju çojë në një faqe ku është quizi. Quizi ka pyetje me alternativa si kundër i pat dhe siç e mendoni ju do shtyp një alternativën që mendoni ju që është e saktë. Të gjitha përgjigjet e quizit do kalojnë automatikisht te Konradi dhe pastaj do të bëhet vlerësimi se si kemi dalë. Pra ky është një quiz njohurish për sa i përket Europës, Bashkimit Evropian, ndodhive, datave të rëndësishme historike, politikave, dhe ju mund ta bëni nga telefoni juaj dhe automatikisht niset dhe shkon te Konradi, i cili pastaj bën vlerësimin se si kemi dalë në këtë quiz për Europën.
Very good. And if you have difficulty, then just let me know. Is it working? Could I just see by raise of hand if you're already able to be in the WhatsApp group and to actually, do you see something? Wow, yeah, gosh, this is working well. And then you will see here, do you see something called Albania A quiz? Okay. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then my suggestion is you see in your cell phone something like this. Can I see by hand who has already opened this one? One. And have you been able to scan even from there? That is a great sign. So, no, I mean this distance, very good. And then my suggestion is actually just talk to your neighbor. Make a little group of 2 and then jointly answer those questions. And if a question is not clear to you, raise the hand and we can quickly talk about it. English is not my first language either, so there may quite possible that it needs some explanation, either in Albanian also.
Në qoftë se keni nevojë për shpjegim të pyetjes, mund të pyesni Konradin, ose në qoftë se është mirë që të punoni në grupe të vogla me 2-3 veta me qëllim që kur dikush nuk di diçka, mund të pyesë shokun apo shoqen për ta kompensuar atë që nuk di.
So, can I now see by hand who has not been able to get into the quiz? Can you just raise the hand so that I can possibly support you?
Kush nuk ka pasur mundësi të futet, të ngrej dorën me qëllim që të ndihmoj Konradi për të futur. The gentleman over there, yes.
It probably bit difficult with this angle, and you might need to just. It's working now. And then, oh, okay. Fine. Let's go to the first question. On which day is Europe Day celebrated? And I admit this was a tricky one, because today is May 9th, and of course we all think it is just May 9th. Oh, again, internet down. Sorry, can I ask, does everyone else has challenges with the internet, or am I the only one? Connected? Why? Okay. So just on the first question, you notice that there are different organizations, and Cosimo mentioned them in the beginning, and the Council of Europe has a different date, takes the 5th of May, and thereby the correct answer was both. Sorry, can somebody tell me, is your internet working perfectly here, the Wi-Fi?
No, we haven't internet.
Huh?
No, we haven't much internet in this place.
It's working perfectly.
Yeah.
So then I don't. Okay. Good. Fine. So let's go to the second question. What does the European Union celebrate? That was easy for you because Cosimo mentioned it. Did anyone have a question to that second question? What we celebrate today? That was all clear to you. Now, this was an interesting one. Which of those institutions is not an EU institution? Can I get someone who answered that? Of those 4 institutions here, and I make them a little bit bigger, which of those is not part of the EU? And Cosimo mentioned also it's the Council of Europe. All the other ones, the Parliament, the Commission, and the Council are actually part of the European Union. Do you remember this question? Anyone who... Yeah. It says connect, huh?
Just close the very opening because you must select in the right.
Huh? Okay. So I get technical support. That's very good. Good. Yeah. Good. This is an important question which we have up here. On Europe Day, of course, everyone feels, let's stand behind and say, wonderful, this is a great institution which many countries want to join, in particular here in the Balkans. But I think it's important for those people who are really engaged there to say, yes, but it is something which needs to further evolve. The way it is right now It is sort of like a project somewhere stuck in the middle. So to be in favor of growing the European Union doesn't mean we find everything which is there right now perfect. But it's important to say there are areas which need reform. And let me just see whether this is now, no, it still says trying to connect. Okay, good. Then next question, and I'll probably work from the microphone here. Okay, have you heard about some people saying, these guys, this European Union, they can never make clear decisions. They take a long time to decide what they do with regard to Ukraine. They take a long time to decide whether new countries should be received or not. Have you heard that kind of a critique? If yes, one of the reasons may be a rule which is called unanimity. Each and every country of the 27 member countries needs to say yes. What happens if one of them, for different reasons, says no? The whole union cannot move forward. And that can be at times very frustrating. So one important area where there is a need to change is by majority. And there are different forms of majority. Okay. But not give everyone the possibility just to say, I don't want. Because otherwise, in particular, for example, with decisions to accept new countries, it can take a long, long time. Okay. This was a question to international organizations and business. Can I see who felt yes, there should be a fair taxation, and please, it should be 10%? Anyone who answered 10%, raise their hand. Was there anyone who said at least 15%? Anyone who said at least 22%? And you are right in the sense Volt feels absolutely important, because if these large taxpayers get to avoid paying, then the smaller taxpayers have to pay much more. Good example, Apple in Ireland, they pay almost no tax on their profits. And they make sure that everything is moved of their profits to Ireland. Ireland is happy because they get many jobs, they have their headquarters there. So this is one area where we need to really reform and need a stronger European Union, which is capable of saying, you guys, if you want to make business in Europe, you should also pay fair taxation, because there are many tasks which need to be fulfilled. So what is your view? Cosimo mentioned it with the euro. Those countries who have joined, it's quite convenient, you travel. But there are some people who say, no, so complicated, let's not increase the number of countries which have euros. Anyone who said, yes, please, no more countries, the Eurozone is anyway complex, etc. Anyone who voted for that? Yeah. And is there any kind of an idea or experience which you had where you said, look, it's better to keep it like this and keep local currency? Any example or You have?
No, but I think we are better with our
Local currency. Okay, very good. Anyone else has this view? Because in the big crisis with Greece, you remember, many people argued exactly that. Anyone who has a different view who says, no, let's expand the Eurozone and bring in new countries? Anyone had that view? Yeah. And could you just quickly explain why you feel that would be a good idea?
Because our countries share the same values as Europe. That is the point. Everywhere that we have the same values, Europe needs to give not only the opportunity, but to support, really support those places, that people, those countries that share the same values. Europe is value. After values is everything else, is identity. Europe. It's not, of course, it's an organization, but it's identity. We are Europeans. We are not something else, for example. That is the point.
So your view is it would strengthen your union because it would also make connection and trade between the countries valid. And so that's why, for the time being, we have both situations, some countries who want to join, some who want to keep their local currency, and it is a voluntary opt-in. As a pan-European party, we are leaning more towards making the euro also as part of the foundations which we share. That's an interesting question. Who said no? Too much English. Everything, the shops, everything is in English. We need to preserve local languages and more diversity. For example, the French people very strongly feel we don't want everything going into English. Anyone who voted for rather not pushing English? Yeah, okay. Any experience, any reason why you feel?
It affects the local language, it changes the vocabulary of people.
Yeah.
They start using more English.
Yeah. And is this, for example, already something you experience here in Albania?
Yes.
Yeah? So people losing...
Or with younger people.
Younger people, okay. Yeah.
And not only, we also see people on television using English words more than Albanian ones.
With the result, people who do not speak English are basically cut off. They don't get the message.
It's more like they speak Albanian with English.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is just a question. Anyone who said, yes, definitely everyone in Europe should learn English? Yeah.
For every view that we can analyze such a question or such a topic, I see more benefits than disadvantages. For example, let's say economically speaking. Furthering the English language everywhere in Europe or everywhere in the world will facilitate reaching our objectives in a way or in another. That is my view.
Well, thank you very much. My sense is both is possible. But for example, what you said, we really need to pay attention that we keep still strong literature, strong knowledge of vocabulary in our own native languages, because for me that's one of the richness of Europe, this diversity. And I think as a second language, very convenient, because frankly, otherwise this event could not happen. So I personally feel it's actually the wrong way to ask the question. Is can we combine everyone learning English as a second language and maintain our local culture? I just skip, oh here I remember this one, the 15-minute city is there, I will press it. Was there any question to that? And we already spoke about it. Is it something you find desirable? If there were a city where within 15 minutes you can have access to public transport and to all the important things?
That'd be incredible and fantastic, because we take a lot of time to commute, to work, to school, and that is lost time, so we need it. But the question is it really that possible?
And that is the kind of question we would ask, pragmatic. I mean, we can have dream. And the answer is yes. We have places. Netherlands is very good. Denmark, Copenhagen. I live in Berlin, and I would say pretty much also in Berlin it is possible. What I notice is it takes political will to get there. So something is like, do we build more highways, 6-lane highways, or is there more effort in extending, for example, the tramways or more frequency with the buses? So in that sense, yes, it's possible, and it's actually fun to learn from places which have managed it and see how they achieve to get a majority of people to support that. Because some people will be unhappy if the city develops in such a direction. I personally feel this is one of the beauties which we can have in Europe, that a lot of things have been tried, and we don't need to invent everything from fresh. We can learn from the mistakes, but we can also learn from what has worked practically in some places. So the third one was not correct. That was a dream. It's not about that you can cross every city in 15 minutes, because obviously you have huge cities, and I think Paris would be difficult to cross in 15 minutes, even if you had yeah. And here, I hope next time I can come by train to Vlore and to Tirana. Right now it's pretty challenging. It takes 1.5 days to come by train. The feeling is once we build a network, and it's now just happening a little bit in Spain, France, Germany, Hungary to Budapest, that's becoming quite manageable connections where you may be in certain distances faster by train than by airplane, which from a climate change perspective is a good thing. But precisely here in this area, I think there is a lot of opportunity to further develop. And the trick was here, of course, we don't want to connect only cities 1.5 million, but the correct answer would be every city 100,000 or more should be considered in this network. Good. Let me open up and see. First of all, thank you. I think 22 or 23 of people have answered that. You have the scores, and in there are also some explanations on each of the questions which you can review on your own. Are there, to that set of questions, any more doubts, ideas where you say, hey, here's something I'm taking away also, which I may be able to implement here in my neighborhood or in places where I am. Any question? Good. Then let me check here with the chief of ceremony. My sense is it would be a good time just for a little coffee break. Is that good? Or
Finish first. If you go on, we finish.
Or we finish a little bit earlier?
Yeah, I believe that much is said, like, you know, and students were participating, and you know, the results show that, you know, they were engaged and answered a lot of questions, and also a lot of ideas came from them as well. So I would like to, you know, call it a day here.
Good. Okay.
So thank you very much all for participating, for being part of this. This is one attempt to discuss important things, which now might not affect us that much, but rest assured that whatever is that is coming in terms of Albania joining Europe, it will affect you, your families, your relatives, your loved ones some days, and you have to understand more Europe. You have to understand more what Albania's role in this, you know, organization is, and if you approach with knowledge, it will be better than if you approach without it. So thank you very much, Konrad, for being here, and thank you very much, everybody, for participating in this talk. Thank you.
Also, thank you from my end. And I will be still around. I think we have probably some coffee. Just feel free to, we can informally continue to talk. And through Cosimo, you have easy also access to our organization. Very much thank you for your time and your interest.